In this episode, I look at how do you buy a business. Andrew, so good to have you on the show. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your business and where you are located?
Sure. So my business is Apostille Stamp. We help people get their documents notarized, translated, apostilled, and authenticated faster than anyone else in Australia. I'm based here in Sydney.
Very cool. It's great to have you on the show. Hey, what's your question?
So my question is that my business isn't growing very much, so I'm thinking about buying another business. How do you find good businesses to buy in Australia?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and a pet passion of mine, buying businesses. I think once you've got that kind of entrepreneurial gift and that entrepreneurial spirit, you can literally go through. You can buy, build, and sell businesses, and you can make an absolute huge amount of wealth if you do that. So obviously the number one place you would go by volume is to, Google online business brokers, and then they would have their businesses there for sale. The problem
Good businesses, right?
Yes. So the problem I've got with going down that avenue is they're normally well overinflated in price.
Yeah.
Not always, let me be clear, not always, but they're generally overinflated because there is a business broker who will typically take, 6 to 8 to 10% of the sale price. And so they're trying to fluff the numbers up so they can get there, and to be fair to business brokers, it's a tough sell. Like it's not like real estate, businesses take 10 times as much effort to sell and a much longer period of time. So they probably earn their money, but they inflate the price, which is part of their job.
Yeah.
But as a buyer, it's good for the seller, but as a buyer, that's not how I would ever approach it. So the number one thing that I would do is there's a couple of rules in terms of buying a business for me. The number one is I start at a value of $0 when I'm looking at a business. So if I'm looking at a business to buy, I don't look at the asking price. I do not give that any consideration. I start at zero. Yeah. And then I find reasons why I think it's valuable. So then I'll look at, what's the profitability of the business over the last 3 years? What kind of customers do they have? Is there any repeat business? What are the margins like? How much are their revenues dependent on a handful of customers? What kind of risk profile? Those kind of questions. And then I'll kind of build in, okay, so like, what's the goodwill worth? What's the assets worth? What are the liabilities? And I'll start to build what I think is the value. And if I get to a price that's similar to the asking price, then I know that they're offering something fair. If I get to a price that's half of the asking price, I'll still put a bid in because I think that that's what's fair. But remember, as kingdom entrepreneurs, we can never prosper at the hands of somebody else. We can never prosper at the expense of another human being. That's not the kingdom of God. So quite often, myself and the clients that we kind of advocate for and coach through the process of buying, we may realize that the business is worth half of what they're asking. And so we put in an offer that says, hey, this is, we're prepared to buy it, but we're fully happy if you want to go to the open market and see if you can get more money, because this is just what we value it at. So if you don't get any better offers and you still think you'd like to sell it, then this is where we're at, right? Yeah. So that's the kind of game that we play, because I never want to take something off somebody under duress and I got to win and they didn't. So that's kind of like a bit of the process for me. So a couple of the metrics that are really important to me is margin. I would never buy a business with skinny margins.
Yeah.
It's not because you can't make it work. It's just that it's kind of against you from the beginning, Yeah. I mean, talk about the skinniest margins in any industry is logistics, right? So trucking and stuff like that. I mean, if they get a 4% margin in a year, it's their best year ever, but they'll make 4% on 20 billion. So it all works out okay. But I wouldn't enter those kind of businesses. I certainly wouldn't buy one. And then I look at the customer profile. I want repeat business, ideally, in a business that I buy. I don't really want to buy a business where I get one transaction with a customer. It's not that those businesses are bad. You can make a lot of money out of those one transactions because they're normally good prices. But I'm just saying I don't know that I would go out of my way if there's 10,000 businesses for sale. I wouldn't. I want one that gives me repeat money over time.
Yeah, you can choose.
Yeah, that's really kind of where it is for me. So yeah, and I mean, how do you find one? So if you didn't go through a business broker, then one of the greatest things that you could literally do is find a business that you want to buy, right? Let's say you said, I want to buy a, car mechanic. You probably don't, but let's just say you could literally just ring all the car mechanics in your area and ask to speak to the business owner and say, hey, listen, I'm looking to buy one. Would you consider selling?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what's amazing, right? So in the last 12 months, I've helped at least 17 of our clients buy another business, right? Either a competitor or a vertical up, down, or whatever.
Yeah.
And 75% of those sales were no money down deals.
Yeah.
They didn't put any money down to buy the business. They paid out the owner. They paid a premium. We always offer a premium to pay over time. And then it costs you none of your own capital because you're giving back the vendor money from their business.
Yeah.
And then you get to buy it over time. So yeah, I mean, you could literally start by deciding what's the industry you want to be in, who are the players in that area, and just start calling them and saying, I'm looking to buy. There are always players in the industry who are nearing the end of their business life, and they've possibly made enough money that they don't need to maximize the exit, and they'll just take, a good deal at the end.
Yeah. So the first step is just figure out a vertical that you want to attack and then go start calling.
Yeah, you could obviously look at the business broking websites and just see if there's already one there. I mean, that's not a bad way to go, but I just wouldn't be held to that. I would also.
Practice.
It's good practice, and actually going through the purchasing process of a business is good for everybody because you get to kind of learn, what financials you're looking for and so forth. And just a couple of pointers on that. The first thing you ever ask for is 3 years audited accounts, not their accounts. Audited accounts, meaning they have to come with the letterhead of their accountant, right? And the reason why we do that, because I've seen it before where we have had audited accounts from an accountant, found out that they cooked the books and then sued the accountant for the damages, and they got their money back because the accountant put their name to fraudulent books. So it just gives you an out to do it that way. Now, if they say to you, because I've seen heaps of them, they go, oh, most of it's cash. Sorry, I can't account for that. That's off the asking price. Just because you took out, you can't verify it. So cool. You might have a swimming pool, but I don't know that came from your business. So they're all just things you want to go. And then once you get 3 years audited accounts and you can see that it's consistently profitable, or you like what you see, then you go back, you probably pay a deposit, a refundable deposit, sign an NDA probably before all of this. And then you can go through and say, right, give me a customer list, a customer profile. How often are they buying? Who are your top 10 customers in revenue? Those, and dig a little bit deeper and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
The other thing is you probably just want to spend, 5 minutes and $50 doing an ASIC search, or so ASIC in Australia is obviously our business body, but you've got the SEC and those kind of guys in the States. Like, just do a search on the person you're buying from and just check, have they got businesses that have gone into administration or liquidation, or have they been bankrupt? It's all there. And it's going to cost you $50 to find out, but it's the best $50 you'll spend if you can see that there's a trail of destruction behind these people.
Absolutely.
Just walk away.
Cool.
But don't delay. If you're deciding on buying a business, you've got to get active. You've got to get amongst that. It's not going to come and land in your lap. Not that you think it probably will, but there's a lot of people that sit there and that's a nice idea. No, if that's your decision, it's like anything. Like, you've just got to execute on it and put energy and effort and focus to it to get it to work.
Yeah.
And it might mean that you probably have to go through 10 to 12 deals to find one where you can walk away with a win-win, a great business, good margins, good profits, and you're instantly away. And just go buy it. And by the way, once you bought one and you've built it and you've scaled it and you've got yourself out of it, go buy another one. Get yourself in it, get it managed, put it on, get it systemized, get yourself out of it, go buy another one. Go and buy 10 businesses, put them all under one group. If you build a crazy business in amongst all of that, list it on the stock exchange, take 27 years worth of profit on day one, go and live happily ever after. I mean, it's all there. the skill set of buying a business and scaling it.
Yeah.
That's where all the money's made in this world.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Hey, before we go, how can we find out more about you? Give us a URL, give us a social handle, sure. Anybody that wants to connect with you.
Yeah, so my website is apostilestamp.com.au. That's apostilestamp.com.au. It's got my phone number, email address there. They can get contact there.
Hey, Andrew, it's been great hanging out with you. Thanks for being on the show.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, if you enjoyed that episode, would you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell icon so that you get the alerts of all of the future episodes? It would mean the world to me if you would do that right now.